Yeah, Blake, I think the timing is interesting. Look, we already knew most of the contents of these notes, but it's interesting that the sheriff's office is releasing them officially now. There's also been questions within the FBI of whether or not they were taking the notes seriously. Remember, Reuters had that report that they thought the notes were fake. We've been reporting that for the most part, the FBI thinks the notes are real. I think this backs up that they are taking them seriously and believe that they could very well be legitimate, or they wouldn't be releasing them like this. The tone of the two notes is so different, Blake. The first one, just horrific and basically threatening to kill Nancy, and then the second one, just it almost seems like it was written by a different person. Essentially, it's an apology. And a few new things we learned today, Blake, quickly, that from the sheriff's office, they're confirming the video that we've seen from the front Ring doorbell camera. We reported this early on. They're now confirming that the video is from different nights, that the person was out there likely scoping out the place ahead of the abduction. And they're also now asking people to come forward who may know someone who was talking strangely about Nancy Guthrie, who's now avoiding the neighborhood, who has unexplained injuries like cuts or bruises, a change in physical appearance, who was cleaning their vehicle in a strange way. They've never gone to this extent to put this kind of a list out and ask people to come forward if they know anyone who meets those qualities. So I thought that was interesting. That just came out today.
Yeah, Rob, the sheriff's office also goes on to say these communications reveal distinctive patterns of word choice, syntax, and phraseology that reflect the writer's unique linguistic style. They go on to say a friend, family member, coworker, classmate, or acquaintance may recognize these patterns.
Yeah, Blake, a couple of things jumped out to me when I first read these. The first was, this is clearly an educated person, right? They used some fairly sophisticated words to describe, and Brian's exactly right. This is, I believe, maybe the same person, but speaking from a very different context. Once Nancy had died, they're in a different position now. The first note was demanding and authoritative. The second one was almost sympathetic. I noted that they used, she perished, not she died. She perished. Also, in the first note, we did not, or the second note, we did not fully grasp the seriousness of her condition. That's a fairly educated person writing that. It's very telling. I believe, the 6-month mark, it was the 31st of January when she was abducted. The other bombshell, of course, is the revelation that footage was from a previous night. That is something that's new to me, and I want to find out a lot more about that, hopefully in the days to come.
What did you make of it, both of you, that the first one was addressed to Savannah directly, and then the next one was addressed to the Guthrie family? Rob, I'll start with you.
Yeah, again, they switched syntax a little bit. One was we, and then at the very end of that first note, you will not be able to contact me directly again. Interesting. The fact that it was directed to Savannah, I've always believed, of course, this targeted Savannah Guthrie. She's the high-profile person, obviously has some financial means. We don't know if it was just strictly financial or it was some other grudge, but she's a very high-profile person. Not surprising at all that it was directed to her.
Brian?
What Rob said, I think, is really interesting, that it's plural throughout most of it. We. Our, like it's multiple people. But then there's one line in the second note where it says me. And I wonder, and I've talked to a couple of retired FBI profilers, if that was a slip-up, if it is in fact one person and they were trying to disguise it as a group of people and then, had the me in there unintentionally, and it's actually an indication that this is just one person behind this whole thing.
Brian, you were out in Arizona, and we spoke with you from there earlier this week. It is now coming up in the upcoming hours here on the 6-month mark, and the sheriff's office obviously putting all this information out, and they're hoping that some of this might add up somewhere to be able to track down the person or persons behind this. Where do you believe this investigation goes from here?
I mean, look, my sources close to the investigation have said that it's status quo, that there is still no suspect, that there are not any really good leads. I think them releasing these notes and this extensive press release on the 6-month mark probably indicates that. I think Savannah putting out that video earlier this week was also probably part of a bigger plan to maybe try to get a dialogue going again with this person who clearly, as Rob said, I mean, has an interest in Savannah. Savannah was the target.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.